Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Tuesday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios here in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill. Casey Gaines, Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. How we doing, Mr. Hill?
I'm doing real good. Looks like we're going to be getting back in this hotbed pretty soon here.
So this is one of those days where I'm sitting there. This is literally 11:20 this morning. And I'm putting together the show, and I'm basically got it all mapped out. We got a guest. We got what we want to talk about, the topics. I'm kind of putting in order. And I'm going, I guess we got to lead with, like, what's taking so long with all these hires? Like, there's nothing coming out. Nothing's happening. And all of a sudden, things start to happen over the last 40 minutes on the internet. If you're not on the internet because you're hard at work, but you've locked us in here, you're in luck. Huge news out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Ross Dellinger from Sports Illustrated was the first to have it. He reported about 15 minutes ago. Frank Wilson had resigned as the head football coach at McNeese. He reported about 10 minutes ago. Frank Wilson is finalizing a contract and agreed upon an offer to join Brian Kelly's staff at LSU. Just so happens, I got a co-host who knows a thing or two about Frank Wilson at LSU. I got to imagine this is a pretty exciting thing for you.
Look, I'm fired up about this. Look, as a kid from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, this man actually had me having interest, I should say, in going to Knoxville, Tennessee. That's how great of a recruiter he is. I got a chance to meet Frank my sophomore year in high school, and he was over at Tennessee with Coach O and Lane Kiffin. Funny how the world works, but dude, he's just a phenomenal recruiter. Obviously with ties to Louisiana, being a New Orleans kid, and just his pedigree for football, coaching multiple positions on the offensive side. I learned more from that man in the 2 years in college than I did in the NFL, and that's a lot to say because just the attention to detail he puts to the work, just going over the playbook and knowing what everyone on the field has to do. I'm pumped for this, man. I couldn't be more happy that Coach Kelly. I said it, man. Look, trust Coach Kelly, man. He doesn't ruin these coaching hire things. He knows what he's doing, and what a hire. I think you'll see this start really working dividends, especially when February rolls around with this recruiting all day, signing day. So
obviously Frank left the staff here in Baton Rouge and took a head coaching opportunity at Texas San Antonio. Got him to a bowl game first year. Things looked to be going really well, and then the momentum slipped a little bit. And he took a job at McNeese back in his home state of Louisiana, where he's got such strong relationships and has spent the majority of his entire life. And I think he really enjoyed his time there at McNeese. And it wasn't like the program was falling apart, but you do look up the salary, and it looks like he was making somewhere in the neighborhood of $200,000 a year to be the head coach at McNeese. And there's something to be said for being your own boss and running the show and you being the guy. There's also something to be said for taking a 3x pay raise and coming in where they're playing in front of 100,000 for a national championship as opposed to playing in the hole over there in Lake Charles, where you might swing on by Daryl's for a sandwich afterward, but I don't know if it's the most attention-grabbing national news. But this for LSU is a really, really big deal because when you saw Mickey Joseph leave for Nebraska and take that job at his alma mater, that's a guy with deep, deep ties in New Orleans. He's a high school legend there, has great relationships with the people in that city. And then you see Jabbar Jalouk join Billy Napier's staff in Florida, where he was with him at Louisiana Lafayette. And then you see those two guys at Javante Citizen's house yesterday recruiting a guy who was committed to LSU. LSU needs a staff member and some presence in Louisiana in a hurry, and this gives you that in a hurry, and it's really the best one out there. He's the best assistant coach with ties to Louisiana in the country for my money.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You just look at his track record, just all the guys that he personally recruited himself. I know we pulled up kind of Billy Napier's guys he's recruited from Louisiana. I love to see Coach Frank Wilson's 24/7 Sports, all the guys he's had from Louisiana, because it'd be a long list and it'd be a bunch of 5 stars on that list. I tell the story all the time on Frank Wilson. We were at a junior day. I think it was actually a sophomore day at the stadium. And I was young in the recruiting scene, not really knowing much of the guys. And It was a story of he was saying that, like, look at that scrawny kid over there, man. He's probably like 155 pounds, but I'm telling you, that dude's a player. He's a player. He's got to be able to play. I'm like, that little scrawny kid, what is he going to be able to do? And that little kid was Odell Beckham Jr., and that was his when he was a sophomore in high school. He just knew he could see the talent, and that's what Coach Frank Wilson does, man. He's going to recruit his tail off. He's going to solidify a lot of these kids that are in the state that loves Louisiana State University. He's going to be, the nail in the coffin to get those deals done. So I'm super pumped about this hire.
So this is one of those where you wish you had a little more time, but it broke 5 minutes before we went on the air.
Yeah.
We do have Michael Ford is going to come and join us in the second hour. Michael obviously was in the backfield with Jeremy Hill. He's a Louisiana guy who was coached by Frank Wilson, so we'll get the perspective from him. But obviously we've got Jeremy here. Tell us about Frank being kind of the architect of your class. We've mentioned this many times in passing, but for those that don't recall year-by-year stuff, I was in the middle of covering LSU, so obviously I knew it well. But your class was Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Freak Johnson, Lael, yourself, Trey Turner, a ton of guys from inside the state of Louisiana that Frank really created a bond between you all and pushed it to the finish line and was really the architect of what was one of the best signing classes in terms of star power in recent memory.
Yeah, I think that definitely started. It's funny how that thing worked when Coach Frank, like I said, the power that he has as a recruiter, especially being a guy from Louisiana. He got Anthony Johnson, Freak Johnson, to commit to Tennessee.
Yep.
And that kind of started the whole thing, and that's kind of when we all started, getting that relationship with Coach Frank. Jarvis took a visit out there to that Tennessee camp, and I was like, okay, Tennessee may be buzzing a little bit. Let me check that thing out, what they got going over there. And then he took the LSU job, and then that's kind of when the things started to take off. And I think the beauty of that is they kind of knew how much talent was in that class. They just did a phenomenal job keeping us around each other, whether that was game day, whether it was summer camp, whether that was, doing junior days, sophomore days, just, doing stuff to keep us around each other, keeping us together and close as a family. And I remember like yesterday, Lael and I committed, fairly early in our junior years, and we called Jarvis, and he was like, Jarvis, man, you got to do it, bro. You got to do it. And then Jarvis like, yep, I'm gonna do it. Jarvis committed right after that, and then the classes started to come together perfectly, and that was all through the orchestration of Coach Frank Wilson. So I think Tiger fans are definitely gonna see his impact fairly quickly here.
Well, we know that he's going to do some recruiting. That's something he's fantastic at. But you mentioned when we were off the air just how good a running backs coach we are. Now, we don't have the information as to what position he'll be coaching. That hasn't emerged yet. This report's 12 minutes old. But what kind of a football coach was Frank Wilson on the field?
Yeah. I think for me, what allowed me to be, the player I was is the attention to detail. And when I say that is, as a running back, you only have so many assignments that you would particularly have in a play. But I think for me, what set me apart with Coach Frank Wilson, he wanted us to understand what all 11 guys' job was on the field, every single play, not just, hey, these run plays, you got to learn this. Every single play, you knew what everyone on the field's job was supposed to do, and that just allowed you to do your job at a lot faster pace, and the game just kind of came to you easy. And I think for us, just having that attention to detail every single day, never lacking at that, it allowed you to go out there and play fast and play confident. And so for me, I learned so much from him, just as far as the run game, the pass game, just being a better back on and off the field. I think that's something that, kind of goes overlooked with Coach Frank Wilson. He was on our butts, man. We'll talk to Mike about that. But, with our grades, he'd be, sitting us down and, going over all our grades, going if we missed a class and kind of holding you accountable, all those things that really matters in the long run. Coach Frank Wilson was doing that in the day in and day out basis. So I was definitely appreciative to have him as a running back coach.
One of the things that I found so interesting with the room that you walked into, specifically the year before you played in 11, but more so also in 12 and in 13, is that in 11, that room was so crowded. We talk about it all the time. The season started with Spencer Ware really carrying the majority of the load, and then you'd have Michael Ford as kind of the speed back guy. Alfred Blue would come in late in games a little bit. And then Kenny Hilliard had a huge run in Tennessee that year, and then he kind of assumed the majority of the carries, but you still had all those guys plus Terrence McGee. Like, it was just a ton of guys, and there's only one football. And It seemed to me like in the interviews that we did, looking at the sideline, that nobody was frustrated or yelling or had any animosity. It was just a group that got along. And I think there's something to be said for a guy being able to manage egos like that. You say how strict a disciplinarian he was, and I think the respect that you cultivate in the room just kind of creates that energy.
Yeah, it definitely did, and that's something that Coach Frank did a phenomenal job of, kind of just letting us know what's real, and it's not going to be any faking or fronting about what's going to happen, especially on game days. And I think for all of us, what made us comfortable in our roles, in that, hey man, I went to LSU, I'm a 4-star or 5-star guy, why am I not getting 20, 30 carries? We all knew you get hot, you pop a few, you're going to get the ball that game. And I think that's what kept us all hungry, is that, man, we want to pop some. We want to get to the second level. We want to make some plays, because they're not going to pull you out at that point. You start running high, you start making plays, coach going to leave you out there. And I think we all understood that. And it allowed us all to go out there. And when we did get our opportunities, try to make the most of them and really just have each other's backs as teammates.
And now LSU has released the statements. Let me see if I can read this. Associate head coach is what is on the Twitter feed. I'm reading through this quickly. Got a quote from Brian Kelly. He previously spent 6 years at LSU. Just associate head coach is the only thing that is on this. So we'll see, what kind of, but you got to figure recruiting coordinator is probably going to be on there. And I would imagine running backs coach. There's been obviously some reports that Kevin Falk is going to be retained on staff. Brian Kelly got questions about that at the introductory press conference, said, I haven't had those conversations yet. So, no indication, but Frank could coach another position. It's not not unheard of for guys to move spot to spot, but we'll update you as we return things. But official now from Louisiana State University, Frank Wilson headed back to Baton Rouge as the associate head coach of the Fighting Tigers, the first on-field assistant tabbed by Brian Kelly to join his staff here at LSU. So it looked like a little bit of a light show, trying to move some things around. All of a sudden, things pick up rather quickly. There have been some more hires from Brian Kelly, some off-field positions we'll look at. I want to look at LSU's recruiting class as well. Brandon Taylor is going to join us in 20 minutes. He's going to talk to us about now Frank Wilson, who he was on the team when Frank was an assistant coach, as well as some stories about Tommy Moffitt, whose time at LSU ended over the weekend. I wanted to have Brandon on to chat about Tommy Moffitt because they're very, very close, and Brandon's got some great stories about him. The Heisman finalists are out. Saints injury reports are ridiculous, and one thing we'll do in the second hour that I'm excited about a little bit later, we're going to go back to our initial SEC power rankings and see how those looked back in late August. So that is all coming at you. But again, the news of the day is that Frank Wilson is joining LSU staff as the associate head coach under Brian Kelly. So lots of reaction. Michael Ford coming at you in the second hour as well. Stay with us. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Brake Medics, BrakeMedics.com. Brake repair anywhere. That's right. You don't have to go to the repair shop. You don't have to sit there in the dusty waiting room with the bad coffee and scroll through your phone and waste half your day. BrakeMedics.com will come to you, whether it's your place of work, whether it's at home, if that is your place of work, and they will repair your brakes right there on the spot. It is such a convenient service, and it's brand new to the Baton Rouge area. Want you to take part in it. Look, we're all going to be driving a good bit here as the holiday season approaches. You want to make sure your car is in tip-top shape, and BrakeMedics.com will make sure that your brakes are just that. They'll come to you. It's so easy to request a quote.
Yes, all you got to do is go to BrakeMedics.com. All you do is fill out your name, email, and phone number, and they'll be able to help you out with that. And then also they have all the brake systems that your car may be dealing with. All you got to do is go on their website and you fill out the make, year, and model of your vehicle. They'll be able to help you out with a free quote today.
They can send that quote right to you, set up a time. They will come to you. BrakeMedics.com. BrakeMedics.com, we make house calls.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
As a local business owner, you're busy.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines, fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Auctioner Health.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
6 to 8 p.m. right here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out in the open field here on a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill. Brandon Taylor with you in 13 minutes. So that's official now. LSU has brought Frank Wilson aboard as associate head coach. Some reports are surfacing of some other positions that Brian Kelly has filled. And so we'll go through those briefly. None will probably jump off the page at you, but it is a staff that is coming together. Jacob Flint is going to very likely be the new strength coach. Brody Miller is reporting that over at The Athletic. Jacob Flint was a walk-on for Brian Kelly at Cincinnati. He ended up earning a scholarship as a senior in that program. He joined Kelly's staff in Notre Dame in 2010 and has been an associate strength coach up there in South Bend. Now, Coach Bayless at South Bend is somebody that everyone raves about. His pupils are at Clemson, Alabama, now at LSU. Running strength programs. He is thought of as one of the best in college football. Brian Kelly, it is reported, made overtures to Coach Bayless to come to LSU, and he has declined and wants to stay in South Bend. So goes and gets a member of his staff that is not super way too young or green. He's been in this strength and conditioning program for 10 years at Notre Dame, and I think is ready to spread his wings and run his own. Obviously, we're going to talk with Brandon Taylor here in 12 minutes about Tommy Moffitt, his legacy, and what he's meant to the LSU program, which is a massive piece of LSU. But Coach Kelly decided he's going to go in a different direction, and Jacob Flint becomes that guy. I don't necessarily want to ask you about Jacob Flint because you're not going to know anything about Jacob Flint. Nobody here does. But how important is a strength coach in terms of the direction of the program?
Yeah, to me, I wouldn't call it the backbone. It's pretty close. It's probably the brain or the heart or something like that. You spend the most time with the strength coach. Every time before you even step foot on the practice field, you're going in that weight room to warm up. You're Tuesday, Wednesdays, especially during the season, you're doing stuff to keep your body able to play in those games, man. Some of these SEC games are brutal battles. They're brutal battles that you have to go through and then turn it around the next week and do it again 7 days later. So you need a strength and conditioning staff to get these players, up to stuff and up in the shape and being able to recover. I think that's huge. And then that's not even talking about the spring or the summer programs that you're going to go through with the strength.
That was my next question.
Yeah, so that you spend so much time with them. It's a huge thing with your program. We saw kind of the injuries we've dealt with. The strength and conditioning staff has some say in that. They can prevent injuries. They can, get you back to the field quicker. So It's a huge hire. I think I want to see kind of the difference with what he's going to do, totally different than what Coach Moffitt kind of had implemented in this program over the last 20 years. So let's see. I think Coach Kelly, he felt that was a time to make that move, and let's give Coach Flynn a chance before we, kind of start, pulling the brimstone and hellfire out.
Look, you're replacing a giant. I don't think that's a stretch to say. That's a guy who spanned the career of 3 coaches here in Baton Rouge and won a national championship with all 3 of them. He's got pupils that have been littered all over college football that are now running strength and conditioning programs that came from Tommy Moffitt's weight room. So I think obviously there's good reason for people in Baton Rouge to talk highly of Tommy Moffitt and to be skeptical of leaving and letting him go. No, but you give Coach Flint his shot, and here he comes, Jacob Flint, very likely to be the new strength coach. On his staff, it appears, according to a report from Chris Gordy, that Xavier Gooden is going to be an assistant strength and conditioning coach for LSU on Jacob Flint's staff. He played linebacker for 5 years in the NFL with the Titans, Lions, Cardinals. He was a third-round pick by the Titans back in 2013. Volunteer assistant at SMU, went to Notre Dame briefly for 2018 in the spring. Then he was over at USC is where he will be coming to LSU from. So this is a guy with some NFL experience, has been in a weight room, has been around Jacob Flint for a brief amount of time, and makes sense as a guy they're going to come in. I think what people don't understand, and certainly I don't have a great understanding for it, is that, we all look at Tommy Moffitt, and that's the guy who's been running the weight. He's got a whole staff of guys that are running that place. What is that relationship? Assistant strength coaches and the team.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to the coaching staff actually, where you got your head strength trainer, that kind of the CEO, and all the assistants they're really doing the hands-on work with all the players. So those guys are almost just as important as the head guy, because they're the guys doing all the weightlifting drills with you every day. They're doing the speed and strength training on outside when you're on the grass. So you got to get the full staff right. You can't have any rotten apples in that bunch. You got to have all guys that are willing to do whatever it takes to get the players better and get the players ready to go and ready to play on Saturday. So it's gonna take some time to fill this whole thing out. I mean, there's probably gonna be 7 or 8 guys on the strength and conditioning staff, so it's gonna take some time. But if Coach Kelly felt like Coach Flynn was the direction the program should go in, let's give it a chance and let's see how it plays out.
And last off-field hire that looks to be coming together, Adam Hunsucker is reporting that Dr. Matt Frakes is going to be the director of sports nutrition down here at LSU. He's been at Notre Dame as their director of sports nutrition for, let's see, when did he take that job there? He just started in May of this year. So he's a younger guy, spent some time at Louisville doing the strength and the nutrition for their basketball program. Is that something that even existed when you were at LSU?
It kind of did. I mean, the most nutrition that we had, I think any guy that comes on this show will talk about the good Lord Cook Hotel cookies that we had. Those got stripped and taken from some of our nutrition lady. I mean, we would go in there and probably get 10, 15 cookies. It was insane. It was madness. So that was
I know Big Fave talks about that all the time.
Yeah, so that was the most nutrition that we ever got, getting our cookies stripped away from us. But it's a big deal actually. Just being on the college diet, I was on Little Caesars Pizza and Domino's and everything that way. I think it'll be good for these kids to, put stuff that's going to help them recover in their body.
Hester tells the story all the time. He came in skinny, and they just told him to eat ice cream at night. Like there's just way more that goes into it. Will Wade is fanatical about this kind of stuff. So those are 3 hires that are going to come from off the field. I do want to talk a little bit about LSU's signing class. It's a big visit weekend this coming weekend. Brian Kelly trying to get a staff together that can help run an official visit weekend. I think what the best news for LSU is that your 2 guys at the top of this signing class that have kind of been leading the charge are locked in. Will Campbell and Walker Howard are coming to Baton Rouge. And now you've got the 2 5-stars in your state who are so excited and kind of leading the charge and can help this weekend. I think Jake Johnson is very, very solid in his commitment to LSU. I know that Max, things were uncertain before there was a coach. I feel better about Max Johnson now than I did 3 weeks ago. I'll be honest with you. And so look, you can say what you will about Max's play on the field over the last 2 years, his development, the play call, and everything that goes around the offense. But obviously, an older brother being on campus is a big deal, and so Jake being pretty locked in is good. We heard Emory Jones on with Matt Moscona yesterday. He says he's very confident that he's going to end up at LSU, so that's another 4-star from in-state that you feel good about. And these are the top guys in your class. Well, Terrence Welsh, it doesn't appear is wavering significantly. So the top half of your class, it's 15 commitments, appears to be in pretty good order, and that's a great thing for Brian Kelly and now for Frank Wilson to walk into.
Yeah, it's huge, though. And I think you can't overlook, Emory Jones and Will Campbell. Obviously, you can't, put too much pressure on a freshman to come in and play. But when you lose the seniors we've lost on the offensive line, you're going to need some depth. And I intend on them, really, having opportunities to play early on as freshmen. So if you can keep the two big linemen in the state and give them opportunities, I think that's going to be huge. And then obviously the quarterback, I think you can just watch it from high school level to college to NFL level. You find those guys, you find those special kids, you can win a lot of games. And I think obviously with Walker being in this class, I think it really allows this class to really blossom because you got the top, you got the head. Now you can just kind of fill some of these skill positions out. And there's still a couple 5-stars in the state. There's still some guys out there. So it's got to be a great class, and obviously bringing in Frank Wilson is going to help tremendously in the long run, especially before February rolls around.
And the other offensive lineman in this class is Bo Bordelon, and he ain't going anywhere. So you're going to get Bo Bordelon as well. So this is this is a great thing for LSU with the bones of your class. Of course, Javonte Citizen has decommitted, and you see him visiting with Billy Napier and Jabbar Jalouk yesterday, and we'll see. That's a guy who I'm certain knows Frank Wilson very well, and that will not be a very difficult when you're from Lake Charles and you're running back, and Frank's the head coach of McNeese. I think you're gonna know who that is. So I feel pretty confident that that's a relationship that can be struck right back up, and so we'll see if there's anything that can come of that. As I look, hold on, let me do this while I'm on the air because I gotta make okay. Shea Dixon's going to join us at 1 o'clock in 30 minutes from right now, so we'll talk to Shea, who's been working hard on this Frank story to break that. We'll talk about the impact it may happen on recruiting, so Shea will join us at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Brandon Taylor is going to join us when we come back. Michael Ford still to come at 1:30. It's a guy who toted the football for Frank Wilson quite a bit and played alongside my co-host here, Jeremy Hill. So loaded show. Frank Wilson headed to Baton Rouge. That's been the breaking news of the day. We still got a lot of that to talk about. We'll do it with Brandon Taylor, Shea Dixon at 1, Michael Ford at 1:30. Stay with us. It's a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This year, we're letting out the extra mile on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And now 0% for 60 months on Ford F-150s. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
10 a.m. 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here on Tuesday edition, Hunt and Hill. Lots of news breaking. The biggest news of the day, Frank Wilson joining the LSU staff as associate head coach. The rest of the title still to be determined, according to LSU, but he will be back on staff for Brian Kelly in the purple and gold this spring and, of course, in the fall. My partner in crime in the fall, Brandon Taylor, former Tiger, and now a member of the LSU Sports Radio Network, jumps aboard now. BT, how we doing?
Oh, doing good, fellas. Doing good. How y'all doing over there?
We're doing quite well. Let's start with Frank Wilson. I want to talk to you a little bit about Tommy Moffitt as well, but the news that Frank Wilson rejoining the staff, what does that mean for LSU?
That is major news, especially after losing Mickey Joseph. When you get Frank Wilson back, you get a key factor in the New Orleans area as far as recruiting and just having ties to certain type of players and certain type of schools that other coaches and recruiters don't have.
Brandon Taylor here talking about Frank Wilson. I've talked to Jeremy. Obviously, that was his position group, but you were across the field from him for a little bit during practice. What do you remember about Frank as a coach?
I hated Frank as a coach. Like, me and him would get it. That's one of the coaches that I would get into it with frequently, every practice and every day. But we had a mutual respect for each other. Because the type of running backs that he recruits, like, those are big guys, big physical running backs that are going to be downhill. And as you can tell, like, those running backs have longevity in the NFL, and they make plays in the NFL. So Frank, he coaches those guys to be blue-collar running backs. And to practice against that every day, like, it would get chippy at practice.
Yeah, that sounds like you may have been talking a little trash. That's not like you, Brandon.
Oh, yes, indeed. I got to, huh?
Oh, man. All right. Talk about, Coach Frank and his ability to recruit. Did Coach Frank recruit you at all, or who recruited you when you were in high school?
Actually, Coach Frank was at Ole Miss when I was coming out of high school, and he was actually recruiting me. So LSU was the only school in the country recruiting me to play DB. Every other school wanted me to play running back. So he was actually recruiting me to Ole Miss to play running back. So me and Frank go way back, And he always picked on me at LSU talking about I was too light to play running back and all this stuff. I'm like, hey, I said, it's about what you got beating in your chest. It ain't about the size. You know better than that.
Brandon Taylor joining us here. All right, let's talk about Tommy Moffitt. Obviously, was informed over the weekend that his time at LSU was done. A 2-decade run that netted 3 national championships. I want to talk to you about him and his role off the football field, out of the weight room, and just the influence that he was on y'all. But first, can you speak to what it was like to go to work for Coach Moffitt every morning in the summer?
So, Hunt, like, I'm going to put it like this. It's only 2 men that I feared on this guy's green earth. That was my father and Tommy Moffitt. I've seen this man swing a Louisville Slugger baseball bat at players that were late come across the train track. And he was like a type of person, like, he put fear into you like no other, and it was like you knew, like, it was to get you better, but you still knew, like, man, this dude is a freaking asshole. And he's like, I don't know, bro. Like, when I got the news about Moffitt, it was like the stock market crash. Like, I got literally 30 different calls from former players, like, asking was it true? Because that's how much he meant to, like, former players and current players. Because, like, Moffitt is like he didn't set you up for just football. It's like any type of adversity outside of, like, football, like in regular life. Like, you go back to that, like, man, I was able to run 26 110s in like 110-degree heat. I know I can get through this. I know I can get through this at work. I know I can get through this type of adversity outside of football. Like, it's just something that you can relate back to life, and that's what Moffitt was key to in, like, a lot of former players' lives.
I think my favorite Moffitt quote is, I don't care if that train is crossing that track, you better drag your mutilated body to this weight room and get that workout in. But talk about the Alvin Roy Award and what that meant to you getting that from Coach Moffitt.
Man, that's like, I don't know, that's like the connection that me and Moffitt have. Like, me and Moffitt, like, a lot of people don't know, like, me and Moffitt, like, talk almost every day outside of football. Me, him, Craig Stelz, and Steph Frugier, we have a group message that we talk constantly every day outside of anything talking about football, just regular life and, like, hunting, fishing, anything like that we all relate to. And Bro, it really hurt my heart because, like, Miss Jill, like, I've been to the Moffitt house. Like, I watched his kids grow up. Like, they was like 6, 7, and 8 running around the weight room when I was a freshman. So I watched them grow into, like, young men, and it's like, I don't know, bro. Like, that really hurt me. Like, I got kind of pissed off. Like, I was in fight mode when I seen that. But I realized, like, Moffitt has put a lot of time and a lot of energy into this, and, like, when I called him and told him I wasn't sad for him because now he gets to go and enjoy his life and enjoy his kids. Like, he missed out on a lot, like, dedicating his time to young men and a lot of players, like, over a 20-something plus year span.
Do you feel this way about any other coach you ever had? I don't mean to disparage any of them, but I've never heard you talk about a coach the way you talk about Tommy Moffitt.
I'm going to put it like this. On the totem pole, Moffitt is tier 1, and Coach Shavers is tier 2. After, all the other ones under that, I boxed them in the middle of the street. Like, it was kind of like that. Which is, I still love all my coaches. Like, I would run through a wall for my coaches, but those two, like, it was on a different level. Like, it was something past football. Like, they literally cared about my family. They knew my parents, like, by name. They knew all my brothers and sisters by name. Like, it was deeper than that. And that's why I was an Alvin Roy Award winner, because I knew that he cared about me other than football. And that's why I grinded and went so hard in the weight room. And the same thing with Coach John Shavers. That's why I went so hard on defense. And my game elevated each and every year because I knew he actually cared about me as a person. I still talk to Coach Shavers this day. So it was like, I got to go extra hard in order to keep my coach employed. If he win, I win. If I win, he wins. So it's like it's a mutual exchange, and that's what certain players got to. Once a player can tap into that with his coach, man, you you would make plays you never thought you would make in your life.
Brandon Taylor, our guest. The Texas Bowl against Kansas State. Did that do anything for you? You excited about that?
Hey, man, we in a bowl game. Like, beggars can't be choosers. It's just a stepping stone. Like, I'm glad we got in this bowl game. I'm glad they're getting to play in a bowl game. That way you can know, like, they can see, like, the experience of this, because most of them have been in the national championship. And now they can see, like, the levels between the two. Like, this doesn't equate to a national championship or playing in a playoff game. Like, you don't want to be here. You want to be where you was before. So they get to see, like, both sides of it. And this is just a humbling experience for them. And everybody needs to be humble, especially in the sport of football. That way you can go back the next year and come back and grind and get back to where you want to be at.
Appreciate you coming on, BT. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you for the Texas Bowl.
All right, 10-4. Y'all fellas be good.
Brandon Taylor, former LSU safety, 08-11, now a member of my team over at the LSU Sports Radio Network. I thought Brandon would be a good one to come on because we talked about Tommy Moffitt a couple weeks ago when I had him as my assistant coach interview in the pregame, and he and Fave are they just love Moffitt, and they just think so much of him. You've heard T-Bob talk about him on these airways, and it's just I thought we briefly mentioned it yesterday. I thought that having a player to come on to kind of speak to what Tommy Moffitt meant to this place for 20 years was really important, and certainly you can do that.
Oh, yeah, you definitely do. You're going to be hard-pressed to try to find a guy to say something negative about Tommy Moffitt, just everything he's done for the program. And I think for us is just how he came into that building every single day. He never was flat, always, got that train rolling. He's always, trying to hunk that train and get guys out, hyped up, ready to go. And that's the type of energy you have to do the job of being the strength and conditioning head guy at LSU. So just a ton of credit to Tommy Moffitt, his family, his kids who play football for the program and baseball for the program. Just a phenomenal family, and it's a pleasure just to be able to have known him in my lifetime.
So one on the way out, one coming back on the way in with Frank Wilson rejoining LSU staff as the assistant head coach. If you missed that news from earlier today, it has been made official by LSU. So we assume that over the next 48 hours that Brian Kelly will continue to add to that staff. There's a huge recruiting weekend coming up on Saturday, and LSU wants to have some ducks in a row for that. Shea Dixon is going to come on in 20 minutes to talk about how that's going to work out and who he can expect to be there and what Frank Wilson's role is expected to be. I got a text message, big weekend this weekend, like, is Frank Wilson going to be there? Hell yeah, he's going to be there. Like, He's now the associate head coach here, and he's got a job to do, so he will be here in purple and gold this weekend when a bunch of visitors come in to see Coach Kelly's campus at LSU here for the first time. So we'll talk with Shea about that in 20 minutes. Michael Ford at 1:30 played for Frank Wilson here with Jeremy at LSU, so we'll get Michael's thoughts on him as well. Let's take another timeout, come back, close out hour number 1. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
We do it every day. FanDuel.
Sports betting is coming to Louisiana, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on the FanDuel Sportsbook. To celebrate, FanDuel is giving you $100 in free site credit when you register early. That's right. Register and verify now, and you will receive a free $100 bonus when we're live.
Look, they got it all. They got college basketball. They got the NBA. They got college football, the NFL. FanDuel is where you can make your online bets. Register for that account. Get the $100 in free site credit. When the site goes live, which is coming very soon, you'll have that $100 to bet at your pleasure. And when you get paid, when you win, you can get paid in as little as 2 hours. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Download the free FanDuel Sportsbook app. Register now. $100 in free site credit. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. The bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. Unique user identity verification is required. The offer ends on the go live date. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Low testosterone. Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And now 0% for 60 months on Ford F-150s. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Between Buffalo and New England, go out to Las Vegas to talk to Rafael Esparza of MyBookie.ag and more. Join us 2 to 3 p.m. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, Jeremy, you ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go back to our initial SEC Power Rankings plays.
Pain.
I looked back at the date. It was September the 3rd. So it was right before LSU kicked off against UCLA. We did it a little differently that day, which I didn't remember until I went back and watched the video. We did it by division. So you have a better chance. You only have to put them through 1 through 7 both times. We will start with me and how I handled things. I had Georgia going undefeated 12-0 and number 1 in the East. That was a hit. Mm-hmm. I had Florida second in the SEC East. How did that go?
Not very good.
They got last. So that did not hit whatsoever. Then number 3, I had Kentucky. Yeah. Reasonable thought. They didn't quite finish third, but they were expected to be pretty good, and I had them there pretty good. So Kentucky finished second in the SEC East. I had them at third. Mm-hmm. Then I had Missouri at fourth. Missouri did finish fourth in the SEC East, so that's good. I had Tennessee fifth. They got third. I had South Carolina sixth. They got fifth, beating out the Florida Gators. They weren't last. Vanderbilt was last. Sorry. Florida was second for last. And then I had Vanderbilt last. So in the East, I got 3 out of 7. You had Georgia first, hit. God. Kentucky second, hit. Florida third, not a hit. Missouri fourth, that's a hit. Mm-hmm. Tennessee fifth, they finished third. South Carolina sixth, they finished in fifth. And you had Vanderbilt. So you had 4 out of 7. on that side.
Okay.
Solid work.
I was expecting way worse than that.
Now let's
man.
go to the SEC West. Let's go to the SEC West.
Okay.
I had Bama first. That's a hit.
That's no shocker.
I had A&M second. They tied for third and basically got fifth based on tiebreakers because they lost to the two teams they tied with. So they got fifth. I had LSU third. They got last.
Yikes.
I had Ole Miss fourth. They were second. Jeez. I had Auburn fifth, so I didn't think Auburn would be very good. They finished sixth. Then I had Arkansas at sixth. They finished in third place. And then I had Mississippi State in last, and they finished fourth. So I got one.
I don't even want to know what my West looks like. It's brutal.
My East, I got 3. SEC West, I got 1. I was 4 of 14. Not great.
My West is probably atrocious.
Here's your West. You got Bama, number 1. That's a hit. Nice job. LSU, number 2. That didn't go so hot.
Oh, God. That's
you did?
How you 2-7?
I figured this would be worse. You had A&M third. Now, technically, I could give you a point for them finishing third because they did tie for third, but they lost the tiebreaker. So they actually finished fifth. But you had them at third. You had Auburn in a tie with them. No, that was incorrect. They are down at 6. Then you had Ole Miss at 5th in the West.
Sorry, Lane.
They finished second. It's your boy, Lane. You're
my bad, Lane. My bad.
Then you had Mississippi State 6th and Arkansas 7th. Arkansas finished third. So you only got 1 in the West as well, but you got 5 of 14. So technically, that's a win for you.
Oh, dude, that's brutal. Look, the West. Talk about the West. Like, the Razorbacks actually having a pulse. Like, who would have thought that, man? And Ole Miss, the top, like, number 2 in the SEC West. Like, imagine going to Vegas and pounding the table. Yeah, I got the Rebels, man. They'll finish second in the West. Like,
I would say, so we both got the winners right, which was obvious and very chalk, and we should get no credit for that. However, I think you need a major hat tip for putting Kentucky in at second. That's a win for you. And I think that I deserve a little bit of credit for dropping Auburn all the way down to 5th in the division when they finished 6th. But the rest of it is some trash, is what we ended up.
Yeah, I mean, my boy Walt Longmire, he says it proves I have a mouth just like everyone else and no knowledge of any other team other than LSU. I mean, hey, Walt, no one got to watch any of these teams play a snap. Didn't get to watch any of their training camp footage. Don't know what the heck they're trotting out there.
No, Walt just gets sad because everyone always picks Mississippi State last and they always get 5th, and he thinks that's a big deal that everyone overrates him. It's just the way that it's all the Mississippi State fans. It's the same. Every time they get one 4-star recruit, I get chirped at. Well, you need to get 16 of them. You got 1. And then every time they don't finish last, there's chirping out of that as well, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You should support your team. And if finishing 4th in the West is something you need to crow about, I think that's good. That's all good. So last thing, Heisman finalists that came out, they were announced yesterday. Bryce Young will win it. He's going. Kenny Pickett is a final from Pittsburgh. Your thoughts on the fake slide?
Man, my man Pickett.
That was sick. It's going to change the rule.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah. They definitely got to change the rule because it's technically when you start giving yourself up, that's when you're technically down, which I don't understand, but I guess it's safety reasons. But yeah, my man Pickett, man, he's climbing up those draft boards as well. But no shot at winning the Heisman. This is Bryce's award. They should have just did a one-man invite this year because Bryce got that thing sold, baby.
So C.J. Stroud also is a finalist, and Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan. Of course, all the crowing is coming from Alabama, with Aiden Hutchinson being asked to go and Will Anderson not. Will Anderson had about 40 more tackles and a sack and a half more. I think what this says is 2 things. One, they want to represent Michigan, and that Bryce Young took all of Will Anderson's potential votes. And 2, that when you do things in this is important, because Aiden Hutchinson had 3 sacks in the Ohio State game, which was the biggest game of the season. And Will Anderson, while his year was sensational, 1 sack against Georgia, 1 sack against Auburn, 1 sack against Arkansas. It wasn't like he had some ridiculous moment late. Now, if you ask me who do I want on my team, Aiden Hutchinson or Will Anderson, I'm taking Will Anderson. If you ask me who had a better season, I would look at it and say Will Anderson. I mean, he was a terror. He was all over the place. But Hutchinson is from a different school that's in the playoff and is going to get the shine. and Hutchinson and Anderson's going to lose votes because Bryce Young is going to take them from the South. So that's the two biggest snubs. People would say, if you're going to put Hutchinson on there, why not Jordan Davis? Why not Will Anderson? Anderson stuffed the stat sheet. Davis didn't stuff the stat sheet, but you could just notice them when they were out there so often. You have any beef with the 4 invitees to the Heisman Trophy ceremony?
I got a little beef with Hutchinson. I mean, I think that was just kind of obviously a 2-game, Heisman, case that he made because, all during the season, obviously he was having a good year, but would you say he's the blueprint to why Michigan is winning all these football games? I think you cut on any Alabama game, you watch their defense, Will Anderson. If you don't know lick about football, you can see 31 wreaking havoc on the game. It's not hard to see. So I know it's pretty tough. I know people already are sick of Alabama. So for the committee to trot 2 Alabama guys to the Heisman finalists, I think that would rub a lot of people the wrong way. So it stinks. But I think Anderson, he's having a sensational season. So I wouldn't be upset with it, even though I have my Alabama dislike.
And now I'm getting chirped at again in the Bayou Ford huddle. It's Dick Jones. I think he was looking for now explain why Mississippi State has 622 players in the NFL and we only get 1 4-star recruit. Dick, I'm not suggesting that only one is signed in the history of the program. I'm suggesting that every time one does sign, I'm told about it in the Bayou Ford chat when it should be a common occurrence, and it's not. And that's why Mississippi State doesn't win anything. It's not that hard to come up with. But I appreciate everybody for being in the Bayou Ford chat. We got a massive amount watching. We really appreciate it. If you would, I'd love it if you'd hit that like button. That would help us out a ton. We have got a loaded second hour coming right at you. Shea Dixon at the top of the hour talking about this weekend in recruiting. He broke the Frank Wilson story for 247 Sports as well as with Ross Dellinger over at SI. So we'll talk with Shea. Michael Ford coming up as well at 1:30. So lock us in. This is Hunt and Hill. You're listening to the capital city's leader in sports talk, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The 2021 Cortana Kiwanis Baton Rouge Christmas
Care Clinic
Parade.
reminding you they now have 8 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. And if you're looking for that COVID test for holiday travel or you have a holiday event coming up, they're the place for you, as well as a flu shot. It's starting to creep up here during flu season, so if you need that shot, make sure you get that. They now have some available through December. You can find more information on their website, patientplusuc.com. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rafino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Injury lawyers.
1, 2, 3.
Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So I'm putting the show together this morning. I send out texts trying to get my good buddy Shea Dixon to come on the show, and he just blows me off, just totally ignores me for hours.
Man.
And then I see that, Shea may have had some work to do. So now he'll join us at 1 o'clock. Shea D, welcome aboard. Busy morning?
I'm here just to talk to Jeremy. I don't know.
Okay,
I'm still avoiding you, huh?
Thanks, Shea. Appreciate it. Shea Dixon go ahead.
I was busy. I was trying to track down what has turned into the news of the day, obviously.
It is the news of the day. If you're just tuning in, missed it. Frank Wilson, former LSU associate head coach and running back coach who went to UTSA as a head coach, most recently the head coach at McNeese, is headed back to Baton Rouge to be an associate head coach on Brian Kelly's staff in terms of position and whatnot. That's not exactly ironed out. But Frank is headed here, and LSU has gone ahead and issued that and made it official. So your thoughts on that as you hear it?
I mean, massive. I mean, just think of it in the simplest terms of Brian Kelly's been coaching 30-plus years, right, as a head coach. But it was all in the Midwest, in the Northeast. And when you're coming into the SEC for the first time, you're making a big recruiting jump. When you're coming to LSU and responsible for recruiting Louisiana, it's an even bigger jump. So we knew that he would have to, or we figured he would have to fill out this staff with some guys who knew the lay of the land here. Maybe that was keeping current coaches on staff who've recruited Louisiana, whatever it might be. But I don't think anyone thought, and people threw the name around of Frank Wilson early on, but that was the home run hire. That was, okay, if everything went perfect, you bring a guy like Frank back. And certainly behind the scenes, Brian Kelly was working to get that done. And Frank resigned from LSU from McNeese in the head coaching spot he had there earlier today, and has taken a role, as you said. We'll see what his position is. Obviously, he's been a running back guy forever, but he gets the title of associate head coach, and maybe most importantly is he kind of immediately can help steady and move you forward on the recruiting front, because he's the best. He's got the best resume. He's the best to ever recruit the state of Louisiana, and now he's back in an assistant role, and for the first time since 06, 07 range, I guess, if one of y'all could probably correct me there, but he's been a head coach since then, and it's just different to recruit as a head coach than when you're a position coach and able to get out on the road all the time and have those in-home visits each week or school visits or whatever it might be, and be available on recruiting weekends, when you've got only so much time with the head coach, but you're spending a ton of time with the rest of the staff. And Frank, I can let Jeremy, I'm sure Jeremy's already spoken to it. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to the first hour, but yeah, I've been around for 15 plus years covering recruiting in LSU, and he's the best coach that I've seen do it here in Louisiana.
All right, Shea Dixon, go247.com. Let's look at the timeline. When is early signing day, and what does the schedule look like for Brian Kelly and what other staff he can assemble, which obviously starts with Frank Wilson?
Right, and getting that news out right now is massive. You're 8 days away from signing day, and a bulk of your class are Louisiana guys. You've got a ton of uncommitted Louisiana guys still out there. So, look, they're younger, so they were never recruited by Frank, but they see it out there of what all the former players and high school coaches around Louisiana are saying about this hire and how excited they are and what it means. And then when you get to spend some time around Frank as a recruit, you understand that he gets it. I mean, he was the high school football coach in New Orleans. He built that program over at O.P. Walker up and has really made a name for himself at LSU. And boy, those years of 2010 to 2016, 17 were some of the best recruiting LSU's ever done. And it was really all about locking down the state of Louisiana. And so many of those guys, I mean, Jeremy, you think of running backs that he had with Jeremy and Kenny and Blue and Michael Ford, all those different guys. And then you can just jump into the other positions. I mean, Lael Collins, Jarvis, Odell, Tyron. I mean, you can go up and down the list. Those were guys that came here when Frank was the recruiting coordinator. And now you get back to, that feeling of, okay, Brian Kelly, even though he's from the Midwest, he'll be able to defer to someone on staff that says, hey, look, this is the path we need to go of how to, work this high school, work this city. This guy's an up-and-comer. That was so much of why LSU is getting a head start on a lot of these guys is because, when you're at Redemptorist and Jeremy Hill and Lael are in ninth grade and they walk through, they call over to LSU and tell them, hey, look, I got a couple dudes, man. These guys get on them and offer them before anybody else does. And Frank was always really good with that. So I really couldn't. I couldn't name you. And look, they've got some guys on staff right now that know the state really well. But if you're talking about bringing somebody new in, Frank was the home run type name, and they got it done. This is about as big of a recruiting boost as you can have in terms of bringing someone new onto the staff.
How quick do you see the hire of Coach Frank Wilson paying dividends? Do you see it before the early signing period, or do you see it more National Signing Day?
I think it could be more National Signing Day, but I also think this early signing period, if he's in this weekend and look, they've got double-digit official visitors, and Friday to Sunday is when they can have them in, and then Sunday night is the dead period of when it begins, and then next Wednesday is signing day. So if he's able to get in front of a lot of those guys and talk to their parents and break down his past to them of, hey, look, I've been here, I understand it, I'll take care of your kid, all the things that these coaches say, I think that puts some of them at a bit of more ease. Now we'll see. Again, a lot of these kids don't know Frank. He wasn't recruiting them when he was at McNeese or anything like that. But he's been around long enough to where I think he can help get in there. And if they need him to assist on certain guys, he certainly could. But as the staff continues to fill out, I think that'll put some guys at ease. And whether that means a lot of it happens this week and then all of a sudden for the early signing period, you've got some more guys in play, or whether that means it happens over the next month. And then by the bowl game, we kind of have a feel after that of what the staff looks like. That'll set up well for February. But it's never a bad time to announce a hire like this. And 8 days away from a signing day, and you're announcing Frank Wilson as being part of your staff in Louisiana is a pretty big deal, obviously.
So what's going on this weekend?
A lot of official visitors. I mean, everyone from Walker and Will Campbell and Emory Jones and all those guys, your commitments to uncommitted guys. Kendrick Loss coming down from Captain Shreve, Austin Osbury, a local guy, obviously, Quincy Wiggins, another Baton Rouge kid, will be there. Demario Tolan, who's their lone linebacker commits, coming in out of Florida. They've even got some uncommitted targets from outside the state. Kamari Wilson is the number one safety in the country, a 5-star. And he told us this morning that he plans to be there this weekend. So I'm guessing between 13, 14, 15 guys will all be there. And then, John, if you know anything about official visits, that's 15. Then you got to add mom and dad. Then you got to add brother and sister. Then you got to add grandma will be there. And then a coach will roll with you. So, I mean, Brian Kelly will get a good taste of what recruiting is like in Louisiana this weekend when they bring these official visitors in, because it'll be a massive group when you're including family and everybody that rolls over there with them.
Okay, so talk about, to me, especially on 24/7 Sports, for certain recruits like a Harold Perkins, for say, they'll have 62% LSU or 62%. Who comes up with these percentages for these players? Do they say that, or it's kind of what you guys are thinking on the website?
Right. So then on the crystal ball, you'll have however many people have picked and kind of where they're sitting. It'll average it out from there, and then kind of what your confidence level is on a 0 to 10. We'll sort of weight into that on top of it. So like you said, if you're making like a Harold Perkins, for example, for all the picks that have been made, more than half the people certainly think he's going to wind up at LSU. And he's a big one. I just mentioned they only have one linebacker committed. We really only saw Damone and Micah playing this year in terms of middle backers that are both seniors. And you can say, hey, look, both those guys might be on to the NFL after this. So Greg Penn we got a little taste of this year. But beyond that, we haven't really seen many guys. So I know they want to finish with a bang at linebacker. Tolan's a really good one that Blake Baker got on board. And Blake Baker's been great since he's gotten here over the past year and has kept him in it with Harold Perkins. And Perkins is about as good of a linebacker that's come out in recent years, 5-star number 1. And he's a Houston guy. And for LSU, it's important to obviously tap into Houston as much as you can. So he's one we're watching. It sounds like he may swing in this weekend, but it's sort of one of those things where Perkins is the type where he keeps it close to the vest and suddenly just shows up on your campus and everybody hears about it. So we'll keep an ear to the ground there. But, yeah, even any picks for a Harold Perkins will have LSU fans excited because that's a day one starter type player.
Any feelings on any other staff members that may stay or may come in? Have you heard anything?
No, and when we asked Coach Davis, Brad Davis, the interim head coach, about that on Sunday, I asked him if his expectation was to have all these guys kind of with him through the bowl game, and then Kelly would figure out the rest from there. And he said from his conversations with Kelly that he's got guys in place, analysts, that if someone leaves, takes a new job, or isn't retained, whatever it might be, he would promote that analyst, and they would just move forward with bowl prep and try not to skip a beat. So I think for Brad Davis, he's in charge solely of, hey, prep the team, everybody keep recruiting, but you get the team ready. You get all these coaches through, coaching for the bowl game and prepping for the bowl game. It's finals week right now, so they don't actually start till Saturday with bowl practice. And on the flip side, Kelly will then handle coaching hires and getting everything ready. And remember, even because we haven't heard much about the on-field assistants that are still with LSU and what their future holds. And, Frank, obviously they announced that, but didn't name a position that he'll be coaching. So it tells me all that's super fluid. And even then we heard Jacob Flint, who was the Notre Dame assistant strength guy, is going to come down and head things up, a new nutritionist. So beyond just 10 hires that coach on the field, I mean, he's working on analysts, he's working on strength staff, nutrition, up and down the line, everything that goes on inside a football ops building to really make it go. So pretty busy week for Brian Kelly, obviously. And I'm sure, I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure that won't be the end of the news. I would guess that as we inch closer to signing day, he's going to, if he's got coaches in place, he's going to try to go ahead and make those moves happen and make it public.
Got one more question. We'll let you go, Shea. We appreciate it. Alex in the Bayou Ford chat says, ask Shea about Chai-G Hill from Carr. Sees a commitment. Anything to be worried about there?
No, as far as I know, he's still locked in. He hasn't made any other visits elsewhere. I don't know if he was locked in on signing next week or if he wanted to wait and see kind of what happened with Andre Carter and the D-line coach, and then get a chance to actually meet Brian Kelly. So we'll see if he comes in this weekend. But, yeah, nothing there yet to kind of put a warning signal out or anything in terms of him ending up elsewhere. But, again, we'll see when Kelly gets in here and this new staff comes in place as they look at the board and figure out who they want to sign early and who's going to ultimately sign in February and where they want the spots to go. It's pretty fluid just because it's kind of, you're now shifting completely from one head coach to another, and we'll see how the dominoes kind of go from there.
If today's any indication, things are going to be moving fast. A lot of information coming at all times. 8 days till signing day. No better time to get over the go247.com. Shea, we appreciate the time, sir.
Absolutely. Wait, did Jeremy say good things? Can I report back to the site that Jeremy is in favor of the Frank Wilson edition?
Oh, yeah. All aboard, man. We're all aboard. We're fired up about that, man. I can't wait to talk to Coach Frank about that.
Yeah, once you commit to Frank once, you're never allowed to go back on it, I think. So Jeremy's required to say that by law.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, Shea, we appreciate it, man.
All right, boys.
He is Shea Dixon at go247.com. We'll have one of Jeremy's cohorts in Frank Wilson's backfield, Michael Ford, with us in 15 minutes. Stick with us. It's a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
At Brock.
Hello, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. The place is going to be convenient for you during that inconvenient time, and it's even more convenient now. Now you have 8 convenient locations, with the Bruley location just opening up. So go check them out online, patientplusuc.com, because remember, they are your place for your sniffles, for your colds, for your stitches, for your COVID test. They have all that available over at Patient Plus. For more information, visit them at patientplusuc.com. Get in and get better.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
What do the Saints have to do to end this losing streak? Larry Holder joins us. Hopefully you'll join us as well. 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thanks to Shea Dixon for jumping aboard. You missed any of that, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, or on YouTube. Chat over there driven by Bayou Ford. Michael Ford coming up, speaking of Ford, in 12 minutes. I wanted to talk about this. A story came up on ESPN.com today of the most injured teams in the NFL. And I figure, I know who that's going to be. There's no chance.
Yep.
Turns out not quite, but just about.
Yeah.
The Saints have placed 22 players on IR. Only the Giants have placed more with 23. The Saints have missed 78 starts due to injuries. Only the Ravens have missed more. And when you think about the Ravens and the fact that they've been able to play really as well as they have, being essentially the second most injured team in the league, that's an impressive by their front office.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely impressive. But I think, like I said, there's a little luck that you have to play into that because I'm sure if Lamar Jackson gets hurt, that win-loss probably looks extremely different. It's exactly what happened to the Saints when they were 5-2. Jameis was still playing. I know a lot of Saints fans weren't too high on Jameis, but he had that team 5-2 and competing in their division. You lose your quarterback, and the rails just trying to kind of come off after that, and then you start seeing other guys come down with injury. Your offensive line, defensive backs, you just name it. Name a position group. They've been ravaged with injuries, including probably your best player on offense in Alvin Kamara. So the Saints definitely ravaged with injuries. You can definitely probably point to that because normally a head coach team by Sean Payton, they're going to make hay and they're going to be at least in the wild card race. Injuries has truly stopped that for the Saints this season.
The Ravens are without their top two backs, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Ronnie Stanley, their left tackle, out. And then you got a Pro Bowler, Marcus Peters, out at corner, who has not played. But they've won close games, and they've been competitive. The Packers have missed 64 starts because of injury. They've got 9 guys on IR. Jair Alexander, you got a All-Pro left tackle, and David Bakhtiari, who hasn't played all year because he had ACL reconstruction. You've got your left guard, and Elton Jenkins, who's made a Pro Bowl. And they've been able to hold their ground, too. So while the Saints' rash of injuries, I have certainly been on the record saying that this is really not their team and that I don't think anybody could survive it. There are a couple teams who have been really banged up. I mean, now you realize that the Packers having 9 guys on IR and the Saints having 22 is different. But in terms of starts, the Saints have missed 78 starts, Packers 64. They still have been banged up. But the Saints, it's just been at so many places that you've got to have. You thought your offensive front was going to be the strongest in football, and then your bookends go down and you lose a guy on the interior and your quarterback and your top 2 playmakers on the outside. And plus, Taysom Hill, who's playing right now, has whatever that thing Sharif described mallet finger is. But I'm surprised that there are a lot of teams that are fairly comparable to the Saints in terms of their injuries. I would probably point to the Saints as the worst. The Packers and Ravens have gotten dinged up, and they've been able to win games. I think it helps when you've got Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers back there.
Yeah. That definitely has a huge piece to do with it. You got to have a quarterback, especially in this quarterback-driven league. They touch the ball every single play. Their decisions win and lose you games. They decide where the ball's going, where receivers are going to get it. If they can turn it over, if they can score a touchdown, they just make so much of an impact on the game. When you have a guy back there, you can kind of massage certain injuries. You can kind of place certain guys in certain spots. When you lose your quarterback, it just really, really demoralizes your team, and it really sets you back. And unless you got a veteran quarterback in the back, we've kind of seen Nick Foles go on that magical run, but can't really point to that too many more times than that because normally
the Brady guy was all right.
Yeah, the Brady guy was all right, but normally it's on the backup guy. It's probably not as going to give you the level of production that your starter's going to give you.
Saints news for today: Deontay Harris will miss the next 3 games because of a DWI. He's actually the Saints' leading receiver in terms of yards, which I can believe because he's made 3 really big plays for touchdowns, and the rest of the guys have not been all that good. But you're going to be without him. And then Cam Jordan went on the reserve COVID-19 list today. The 32-year-old has never missed a game since being drafted in the first round in 2011. Played in 172 straight, which outside of specialists is the most in the NFL. Incidentally, Demario Davis is second in the NFL in consecutive starts, but 172 straight at defensive end is unreal.
Oh, that's definitely unreal. It doesn't happen, man. It doesn't happen often. It's a very, very physical, violent sport, and it takes luck to just get through a season healthy. You play that amount of games. That's seasons on seasons, being able to go out there and help your team. So you got to tip your cap to someone who can pull that off.
Marcus Davenport missed the last 2 games at defensive end. Tano Passanio has been placed on IR as of last week. Now Cam needs 2 negative tests before they can play on Sunday, so he can play. It's borderline shocking what they've gone through this year, and it's hard. I mean, they're paying you a lot of money, so I guess you get up and go to work if you're Sean Payton, but I would just have trouble dragging myself out of the bed if I'm looking around and there's just nobody left.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. You feel good going into training camp. I know everyone's 0-0, everyone's chipper, everyone's feeling great about their team, but I don't think anyone could predict, especially Sean Payton, just the amount of injuries and who will be injured. Not practice squad guys, not backups. These are your key guys that you're counting on to give you production, and you're going out into these NFL games, into these battles, kind of with your hands tied. It's just very tough. I think for them being 5-2 and having everything in front of them and just going to what they are now, it probably has to be just super demoralizing to get up and go to work in that building. But you got to do it. You're still not technically out of it, so you got to just keep going out there and fighting and trying to win football games.
You look forward, and it's the Jets this week up there in, I guess that's New Jersey where this stadium is now?
Yep. New Jersey.
So, it's still up in Jersey. It'll be on CBS at noon. One would imagine this would be one the Saints could get, but again, they're playing without basically anybody. We'll talk about it more later in the week, but your initial thoughts early in the week on Saints-Jets.
Yeah, I think, watching Wilson, he's a rookie quarterback. So I think for the Saints defense, you see their defense. It's not like teams are just going up and down. They're fighting. They're giving you a chance. And obviously just if they're out there all day, you got to give those guys a chance to get off the field. And I think for them, this is their best chance to try to get some momentum and try to get something going. I don't know if Taysom's going to play or if he's going to start at quarterback. I don't know. I don't like that. But I think if you can find a way to get a run game going and try to get Alvin Kamara back, that's going to be your best chance to win on the road against a Jets team who's hungry for a win as well.
And the last thing on the NFL front before we move on to Michael Ford, who played for Frank Wilson back during his time at LSU. New England Patriots move a game and a half ahead of the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East in what was a dreadful football game to pay attention to last night.
Yeah, man, Super Bowl pick, man. It's getting a little shaky. I don't know.
7-5? Not great.
It's looking a little shaky, but yeah, man, gotta respect Bill, and that's why he gets the credit he deserves. He gets that $18 million a year salary to head coach a team and do it the way they did, because it's very, very hard to win an NFL game only passing the ball 3 times. 3 pass attempts.
That's where I was going. If you did not watch this game last night because Patriots Bills doesn't do anything for you and you're more of a college, it was hellacious weather. It was in the 40s, which isn't that bad for Buffalo, but the wind was blowing an obscene amount. There was precipitation. There was debris. And the Patriots said, screw it. And they threw 3 passes.
Yeah.
They ran for 222 yards on 46 carries and won the game 14-10.
Yeah, I love what Bill said after the game. They asked him, Coach, is there something behind you passing the ball 3 times? He was like, yeah, it worked when I was in high school. That's something that we did. That was his exact answer.
That one is very good Bill impersonation. 2, he is just unbelievable with the media. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. Look, if you get a chance to be around him behind closed doors, just the most sarcastic, funny guy you'll be around. That dude just has you rolling, just how sarcastic he is, but the dude knows football. He knows how to coach football team. He's like an encyclopedia, the way he can just draw back plays and games and strategies and all that stuff. And you see why he goes out there and wins as the way he does.
Johnny Smith had 1 catch for 12 yards. Brandon Bolden, Scotlandville's finest, had 1 catch for 7 yards. That was it.
Yep.
They had 19 yards passing and won the football game in a massive divisional game on the road. There's got to be so many Elias statistics on fewest passes completed, fewest yards. Since Navy won a game, it's got to be. Georgia Southern went down to Florida and won a game completing like 1 or 2 passes. But this has got to be an all-timer.
Yeah, if I'm the Bills, I'm demoralized right now. I'm just disheartened. How do we let this team come in our house? They pass the ball 3 times. If I'm the defense, I'm like, Josh, come on, you're MVP Josh Allen. We held them to 14 points. What more do you need? Couldn't get in the field goal range 2 more times. It's just, that's a tough, especially a division loss, not just a non-conference loss, but you lose a division game the way you do at home. But my boy Craig in the Bayou chat, Mac Jones, QBR 4.3 out of 100. That's atrocious, and you lose that football game. So Super Bowl Bills, man, you guys better start changing this thing around pretty soon here.
First team to attempt just 1 pass in the first half since at least 1978.
Sheesh.
Those are the Patriots, the fewest yards passing they've ever had, obviously, 17. You would think you would just get that in the first drive. Just a remarkable remarkable performance. And the New England now 6-0 away from Foxborough. They moved to 9-4 on the season. They have won 7 games straight, and everyone counted them out. And here they are, right in. Amazing organization with a great coach, and that's what you get in Buffalo. A little more of the same. You're thinking this is the time we finally kicked it. Brady's gone. We're really good. The Patriots are a non-factor, and all of a sudden you're a game and a half down as you move into the middle of December. Shocking stuff. All right, let's take a timeout. Come back. Michael Ford, former LSU Tiger, played for guy who's coming back to LSU. Frank Wilson, leaving Nice, coming to be an associate head coach on Brian Kelly's staff. We'll talk to Michael Ford about it next on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Do you know what I love?
Is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Appreciate those of you hanging out in the Bayou Ford chat. If you wouldn't mind throwing us a like and subscribing to the Hunt and Hill page, we'd appreciate it. If you're listening on terrestrial radio or on demand, and you would do the same when you hit YouTube on your screen, we'd appreciate that too. The Hunt and Hill page, 104.5 ESPN page. It's all driven by Bayou Ford. Speaking of Ford, let's go to the phone lines. Michael Ford, former Tiger running back and backfield mate of Mr. Jeremy Hill, joins us for the second time on this show. It's been a little bit, but Michael, welcome back. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we wanted to have you on because the news of the day is that Frank Wilson is headed back to LSU. Of course, a longtime key member of LSU's staff, was the associate head coach, recruiting coordinator, running backs coach before taking the head position at UTSA, ended up at McNeese, and is now coming back as the first huge on-field piece of Brian Kelly's class. When you heard that news, what was your reaction to Coach Frank coming back home?
I'll be honest, I just heard that news now. I'm just hearing the news. I'll be honest with you, I thought they were going to go after him for head coach.
Well, here he is coming back as a running backs coach, and it's something that we've been talking about here, and that's why we wanted to get you on the show for your reaction. So now that you have heard the news, what do you think?
I think it's a great access because of he's been there. He knows what it takes to win, and, of course, we know how competitive the SEC is. And Brian Kelly, this is his first time coming, and he has somebody that's been in that dogfight in the SEC, which is a great coach in Coach Frank Wilson.
Talk about Coach Frank just as a football coach and what you learned from him, especially like X's and O's and just getting ready for a football game.
Man, the biggest thing I can remember about Coach Frank is the mental part of the game, how big the mental part of it is, how he would tell us, how he made us remember the poems. But looking back, I just remember how important that is to keep your mind focused on what you want. And I just remember him, showing us that. And having that backfield where we had, you had to be mentally strong, and you had to stay focused on the play and be in the presence of what was going on.
How is he? We're talking with Michael Ford here on Hunt and Hill. How is he able to keep all of you guys happy and get y'all enough playing time? Obviously, that backfield had Spencer Ware, had yourself, had Kenny Hilfiard, Alfred Blue, Jeremy stepped in, then you had Terrence McGee as well. I mean, how do you keep that many guys on the same page?
I think it was more of us, to be honest with you. I think just us being friends and us liking each other and us not just hating on each other and just loving to see each other succeed. I think it was more of that, less than the coach. I think the coach was just the overseer of the room, but when it came down to the games and watching each person succeed, I think it was more of us.
Talk about Coach Frank, like off the field and like everything that he's does, especially like going over the grades and all that stuff, and just how attention to detail he was with that stuff.
He was very attention to detail. Like you said, even on before the game, like on Friday night when we go to the hotel, he gave us tests. And then on Saturday, he'd go over the test with us and make sure all of us was ready for the game. He was very detail-oriented. And that was one of the things that made you confident on Saturday nights. Saturday nights because of what he did, how he gave us the test and how he would, it wasn't just a test to see if you got it right or wrong. It was a test to give you confidence and make sure you was ready to go in the game.
Who was your main recruiter when you were in high school for LSU?
DJ McCarthy.
Okay. Now, because I knew you were a little bit after Frank in terms of the recruiting side of things, but did you ever watch him in his recruiting? Obviously, you played with guys that Frank recruited. What was that like?
Oh, Coach Frank was an amazing recruiter when you just see him work and you just see the type of guys he bring in, because you can already see the type of guys he bring in is going to be his character, because that's where the guys are coming from, his view of life. So even though recruiting Jeremy, you see what type of guy Jeremy is. He's a stand-up guy, honest guy, a hard-working guy, and is going to give it to you straight. So Coach Frank is going to be that type of guy. Spencer Ware, a hard-nosed, working guy. So Coach Frank is going to be that. So you can see his character, but in the guys he recruits.
Talk about the new head coaching hire of Coach Kelly. What was your first initial thoughts when you got the news of that?
Man, I was like, what in the world? To be honest with you, I didn't even know who he was. I just remembered him playing Alabama and they blew him out. That was my first initial thought, was like, wow, this guy. And just thinking about Notre Dame, they might face one hard game a year, and then you come to the SEC. Even a team that don't have a great record, maybe Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State, those are still great teams. there's still going to be a dogfight. So my thoughts was just, could he handle the weight of handling a season like that? But he hired Coach Frank, so that's a great thing, and that will help him.
Michael, we spoke with Brandon Taylor a little bit earlier. I've gotten Jeremy's thoughts on this, but Tommy Moffitt not going to continue as the strength and conditioning coordinator here at LSU. I know that that's something you've gotten into, strength training, and spent a lot of time with Tommy Moffitt in that weight room. What do you think Tommy Moffitt's legacy after 20 years in Baton Rouge is?
Oh, bar none. He's a big part of everything because, you know, a lot of guys that's been to college and played college ball, your strength coach is your head coach. There's a period of time where you don't see your head coach, you don't talk to him, you don't talk to your position coach because it's not allowed, and the only person you see is your strength coach. And you got to think 20 years, and that's been your guy, and that's been, you know, with your team, and every game they won is a contribute to what he's done in the off season and in season with his strength and conditioning. So that's a big loss, but at the same time, his legacy will live forever because everybody knows what he's done.
Michael, we appreciate some time. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
That is Michael Ford, former Tiger running back, guy who played for Frank Wilson and spent a lot of time in that weight room with Tommy Moffitt. Surprise, surprise. Another guy has a ton of great things to say about Tommy Moffitt during his time at LSU.
Yep. Look, man, you go into a weight room and you watch Michael Ford, you're going to be seeing some stuff. That dude was so explosive. He was so talented. Could jump out of the gym, could throw weight around like no other. And Coach Moffitt was right there along every step of the way, just helping him throughout his career. And you see the arms on that dude. That dude, Michael Ford, wears new gloves for a reason. That dude's jacked. But yeah, Coach Moffitt, just a great dude, and obviously everyone enjoyed their time with him.
You talk about Michael Ford and his explosiveness, and I used to laugh. I covered that 11 team, and they deal with Spencer Ware and Kenny Hilliard slamming into him 30 times, and then they'd run some toss to Michael Ford, and he would just right around the corner. There's just nobody there. They were tired, they were beat up, they were hurting, and then the speed back would come in, and it was not a lot of fun for them to deal with that. That was a fun running back room to watch before you took over the next year and just kind of hogged all the carries.
yeah, I was not complaining about that, man. Give the young bull some carries, man.
All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back, close out a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Can't finish out before we tell you about FanDuel.
Sports betting is coming to Louisiana, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on the FanDuel Sportsbook. To celebrate, FanDuel is giving you $100 in free site credit when you register early. That's right. Register and verify now, and you'll receive a free $100 bonus when we're live.
Don't have to deal with the sketchy offshore sites that you can't get a hold of anybody and you can't get your money. Those days are gone. Online sports betting is coming to Louisiana, and all you have to do is go to the App Store on your smart device and download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It is free to download, 100% free. You create your username, create your account. They'll credit the site. They'll credit your account with $100 free. They've got great odds boosts. They've got super boosts on the weekend. You can live bet during games. You see a first half odds that you like, a second half odds that you like, you can get in on that. It's easy to use, and they're always hooking you up with great offers like this $100 free. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook and download it for free. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. Unique user verification and if it is required. The offer ends on the go live date. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can. Understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. The place is going to be convenient for you during that inconvenient time, and it's even more convenient now. Now you have 8 convenient locations, with the Bruley location just opening up. So go check them out online, patientplusuc.com, because remember, they are your place for your sniffles, for your colds, for your stitches, for your COVID test. They have all that available over at Patient Plus. For more information, visit them at patientplusuc.com. Get in and get better.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Sad, but all too real question. And a brand new Would You Rather Wednesday. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Finish it out here strong on a Tuesday. If you're looking for something to do this evening, coming out to Pluckers on Nicholson, 8:30 Sports Trivia. I will be your host. We'll be watching some college hoops, drinking some cold pop, some delicious food, and you can win some Pluckers gift cards. Got some great teams coming out the last couple of weeks, so make us part of your Tuesday night, 8:30 at Pluckers on Nicholson for Sports Trivia. A little bit of reset of everything. If you're just tuning in, jumping in the car and missed what's going on today, Michael Ford obviously had missed that until we had him on. The big news is that LSU has hired Frank Wilson, former LSU assistant, associate head coach, recruiting coordinator, running backs coach. Took 2 head coaching jobs, UTSA and McNeese. He is now coming back to LSU, so that is a huge get for Brian Kelly as the first on-field member of his staff. Obviously, another on-field ad, it looks like, is Brian Polian. Looks like he is going to join the staff as a special teams coach. That's an assumption on my part because he coached special teams at Notre Dame. But he's obviously the son of Bill Polian, is a big football family, and sounds like Brian is headed to Baton Rouge to be the special teams coach. As far as strength coach, Brody Miller from The Athletic reporting that Jacob Flint is going to be the strength coach. He was a walk-on for Brian Kelly as a player at Cincinnati, ended up earning a scholarship. He's been at Notre Dame for 10 years with Kelly as a part of the strength staff. Looks like he's going to come in and be the head man in that department. And Chris Gordy is reporting that Xavier Gooden, former third-round pick, 4-year NFL player, and a guy who spent some time at USC and SMU on the strength staff as well as a brief stop in Notre Dame, is going to be an assistant on that staff as well. And then finally, Matt Frakes named the director of sports nutrition. He had been in that same role up at Notre Dame in the football program. So not exactly the most eye-catching, ear-catching stuff there at the end, but as things start to filter through, we will update you on those. Let's do some take it or leave it, Jeremy.
Let's do it. All right, my man Steph Curry, he said don't rule out him making 16 3-pointers in his next game to pass up Ray Allen on the all-time list. Take it or leave it. Steph Curry with 16 threes in a game?
Take it. Take it. Anything he wants to do shooting the ball, I'm all in on it. I would much rather watch him do all that than watch anybody dunk, block shots, alley-oops, and just watch Steph splash it from the parking lot all day long. I hope he shoots 33s in their next game. Maybe make half of them get to 16. I'd like that very much. I will absolutely take it.
I'll take it.
Patriots beat Buffalo 14-10. They threw it 3 times, taking or leaving the Patriots as the best team in the AFC.
I'll have to take it.
Oh!
I'll have to take it, man. Just looking around, just so up and down, man. I was feeling hot about the Raiders for a sec. 3-0, beat the Steelers. They were rolling hot. The Chiefs, they up and down. They're getting hot. The Bills, we know what the Bills are doing. Look, man, Bill has his team coached well. They're playing well. They're on a streak like none other. Got to go up there to Foxborough to handle business. And if they get that number 1 seed and get that bye week and all these teams have to play, it's shaping up good for old Bill, man. I don't know. I'm going to have to take the Pats, man. Pat's best team in AFC. I'm taking it right here. I got to call that.
I'll take it.
All right, here we go. The Heisman finalists came out today with defensive end Aiden Hutchinson being in the group. Are you taking or leaving? Aiden has any chance of winning the Heisman.
I'm leaving that. I'm leaving Aiden Hutchinson. I'm leaving C.J. Stroud. I'm leaving anybody they want to put in there. I'm leaving Tom Brady. There's one guy that's going to win the Heisman Trophy. It's Bryce Young. And we talk about it every single week on the show. Who's going to Heisman? What do the odds say? Oh, who's got this coming up on their schedule? It works itself out in November. It just does. And then if it has to leak into December to championship week, I mean, look, Aiden Hutchinson was awesome against Ohio State. Will Anderson has been a terror all year. I think Kenny Pickett has had a great year and has a good NFL future. It's over. Bryce Young leads him down against Auburn on the last second, and it ends up winning the Iron Bowl, and then he lights it up against the number 1 defense in the country. Put a wrap on it. That baby is cooked. Bryce Young is your Heisman winner. Potential number 1 pick, Kayvon Thibodeau. Well, entering the draft, he is foregoing the Ducks bowl game, which so are both coaches in that game. That's the Alamo Bowl against Oklahoma. Taking or leaving college athletes skipping their bowl game when they are healthy.
I gotta. This is the one that split me down the middle, but I guess I gotta take it.
I'll take it
only because, and it's different for a lot of players. But I think when you're in a situation like Kayvon Thibodeau, when you don't have your head coach, you're projected to go number 1. There is no national championship on the line. You don't want to risk. We all saw Jalen Smith in that bowl game. It still cost him, I think, down the road in his NFL career. I think the Cowboys don't cut him if he never has that injury because he's, healthy and playing at a high level. So I think for guys like that who are, no doubt, no-brainer top 10 picks, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze of playing a 60-minute game where you can, risk your future. So I'm going to have to take that one, but I think it kind of sets a precedent where some of the guys who aren't those first-round, no-brainer locks thinking they're going to be skipping the game, and then now it just creates a whole thing where guys just don't want to play in a bowl game. But for this one, I'll take it because my man Thibodeau is probably going to be a high draft pick on that one.
It's an evergreen topic, and I understand if you're the person who says – that you've joined a team, you have an obligation to that team, and you need to play while that team is still playing. I understand where you're coming from. I just disagree, and I think that it's very difficult to come up with some sort of reason why these guys need to play in the Alamo Bowl when neither coach determined that they needed to be there.
Yeah.
And moved on to their greener pastures with their massive paychecks to start their future. Kayvon Thibodeau has played for this team for 3 years. He's been a stand-up representative of Oregon. He's worked himself to where he's probably going to be the first pick in the draft. If a quarterback jumps him, he's still going to be a top 3 or 4 pick in the draft. And that's just too much money to go out there and play in the Alamo Bowl if you're speaking about it practically. It just is. Like, I hate it too. I hate when guys that are LSU Tigers don't play in their bowl game because I want LSU to win and I want the best guys out there. It's just hard to look at this thing and look at, you mentioned give me the Notre Dame guy for the Cowboys.
Oh, Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith. I can show you Marcus Lattimore's foot pointing the wrong way. Like, it's just tough. And I'm not on board with guys sitting out a whole season their senior year. And I guess you come to the point, well, do you just play until you can't win the national championship? No, I think you play, and then if it's the Alamo Bowl and the coaches are gone, I don't have a problem with this guy sitting out. I just don't. It's hard for me to conjure that up.
Yep. All right, last one here, my man, Coach Matt Rule. He says he has no regrets in bringing in Joe Brady as offensive coordinator after recently firing him. Are you taking or leaving bringing Brady to the NFL was the right move for Coach Rule?
Well, obviously it wasn't the right move, so I'll leave it, but I'll take it as a nice swing. You've got a league that is just such a recyclable league. Guys just go from team to team to team, and it's the good old boy network, and you always get the next shot until you go on TV, I guess. That's the next thing you do when you don't have any more shots. This was taking a chance at a young guy who had been a part of something that was really special at LSU and was a part of a well-oiled machine in New Orleans. It was great. I think it was a reasonable pick, but you're taking a risk when you take somebody who's never done a job before, and it appears, although I don't know the inner workings of the Panthers offense, that it didn't work out. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think to answer the question, I think you got to take it because, just having the success and just how fluid and how well his offenses were running at the time up until that point, I think there's nothing to say, the adverse side to that, hey, man, this guy probably is going to do a terrible job. So I got to agree with Coach Will. I think at the time before the season started, Brady was really, probably a sexy hire, but, how things played out, just how way their offense was performing, it's just not up to snuff with NFL standards. So you have to move on.
People were asking about Joe Brady at LSU. I would pump the brakes on that at the moment. I just don't see him as any sort of long-term fit, which coordinators generally are, and I just don't know if he wants to come do this. I think he'll have an opportunity to work as an assistant in the NFL. Maybe even a coordinator if somebody likes the interview that he puts on there. I just don't think he's a fit at LSU right now based on the pieces that are in place. That's just my opinion. So that's where we are. All right, we had a huge show. Obviously, it kicked off with the news of Frank Wilson. We reacted to that at the top of the show. We had Brandon Taylor on at 12:30 to talk about Frank, as well as Coach Tommy Moffitt. Shea Dixon joined us at the top of this hour at 1 o'clock. Michael Ford at 1:30. So a loaded show. If you missed any of it, 1045ESPN.com or on the YouTube channel that is always presented by Bayou Ford. Big show coming at you tomorrow. Can't wait for that. Matt Moscona is going to drive you home tonight from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. Jimmy Ott's Game Time from 6 to 8. And the boys with your early line are next. That is Mario and Musso. Thanks to Casey and Taylor for their hard work. Thanks to Jeremy as well. I am Hunt. See you tomorrow.